In this video, you will learn how to create high-converting product images and A+ content through a real case study, including how to test different image concepts and organize them effectively in your listing. We will be using a data dive tool, and if you want to try data dive for yourself, you will find a special offer below in the description.
Hello, Anthony. Welcome back to Orange Klik YouTube channel. It's always a pleasure to have you on because you are sharing great insights with our Amazon sellers community. And today you're going to talk about conversion optimization so that Amazon sellers could sell more products with their product listings they already have up and running on Amazon. But first things first, could you first introduce yourself? Because there might be someone who hasn't seen on our channel before. And also if you could briefly introduce Data Dive and what is Data Dive doing to help Amazon sellers succeed.
You bet. What's going on, everyone? My name is Anthony Cofrancesco. I've been with Data Dive and Seller Systems for almost 3 years now. I've been in the Amazon industry since 2017. I used to work for Amazon. I've launched products on Amazon. I used to own an agency. I worked for PickFu. And now with Data Dive, it's a software that helps Amazon sellers do everything they need to do for selling on Amazon, but much faster. And so we've got a handful of different workflows, one of them being a conversion optimization workflow, and really just trying to help you get as much performance out of your Amazon listings as possible.
Perfect. And today, as you said, and also I said, we're going to talk about conversion optimization. So what are the exact elements you're going to run us through today?
So in another video on the Orange Klik channel, we go through the workflow for conversion optimization. This covers things like categorizing your images, scoring your images, and how to concept new images and A+ content. What I'm going to cover today is a little bit of a case study that we did with our internal team. I think that's going to help you move from just concepting the images to what does the process actually look like to create these images, do market research, and then iterate on those images so what you're uploading into Amazon is going to be the best possible creative that you can use.
Okay, practical advice. That's all what we are in and interested to hear about. So go ahead, share your screen, and let's get started.
Okay, cool. So if you have seen the other video, it's maybe live or it's going to be live soon, but I walked through the process in the workflow for, again, categorizing images, scoring images, basically up to the point where you concept the creatives. You come up with, okay, what are the people who are shopping for this product? What are they looking for? And like, what should those image concepts look like? And so once I got to the point of concepting the images, I went to our internal team who does the creatives for Brandon's products. And I said, hey, can we actually go through the process of bringing these images to life, use market research to test these images, and then go through a few iterations as if this was a product that we were actually selling. And so this is based off of the kids' binoculars. And what I am really proud of with the team is I said, I want you to go and do this, and I want you to spend as little time as possible on this project as little time on this project as possible. And so I think the first threshold that I gave them is I said, I want you to go in and spend only 9 hours making the V1. So they went and did like the V1 of these images in like 9 hours. And then everything that you're going to see here today, this designer, Matthias, who's on our internal team, spent like about 40 hours on everything. And just to give some reference for how much was created in one work week for a designer, this is a product that we're not actually selling. So they had to like go and create renders or mock-ups of the product. They had to create a brand based off of this. I went into ChatGPT and like came up with a random brand name. So all of like the branding elements, the logos they made it. We created alternates for main images. We created secondary images. We created A+ content. We even created some premium A+ content, as well as some packaging and then some bonus like inclusions parts that were bonus items with the product. So I guess the motivation is like, typically when I'm looking at these projects, we're spending months and months and months and months. Even when I had my creative agency, to knock a project out in less than a month was like kind of a challenge. Our delivery timelines were like 3 to 4 weeks normally. And so the reason I wanted the team to go in and do this as quick as possible is to show once you have done this a few times, a designer, that's why I'm saying this could be your designer here, you should be able to go through and do this in like a week, right? Like to just create these images. It might not be perfect, but the point is your team can go and do the exact same thing. And if you watch the other video and then you watch this video and you're thinking, I really like this information, I really like this content, well, you should consider coming to European Seller Conference in Prague, because on March 9th, we're doing a special workshop. It's going to be a conversion optimization and PPC optimization workshop. We're going to spend hours going through this workflow. There's going to be homework that we send out in advance. And if you want to learn how to do this for your brand and get your creative team to be able to execute in the same kind of time frame, it's an add-on to the actual conference. And I promise you, of anything you spend money on in 2025, you're going to be like, this is where I got the most value from. So a little pitch there. Like I said before, you're going to spend like 30 days plus going through and doing this workflow. I think the first time that you do this, between concepting and like basically coming up with the ideas for the images, you're going to spend like 6 hours. Once you've done this 5+ times, you're going to be able to do this in about 4 hours. And then there's the graphic design part on top of it. So I'm not going to cover, because we covered in the other video, the other steps in this workflow, like image categorization, image scoring. But this is going to basically start on like the concept and create, what market research looks like, and then the process for uploading and tracking, and then optimizing for performance. So again, time and design, it's like minimum, it's going to take your designer probably like 10 hours. That's going to be really tight. I'd say you should shoot for a target of like 20 hours. And then high, we really went deep on this. They spent like 40 hours on this. Okay. So main image, I won't spend too much time on, but if you watch our other video that we have on CTR optimization, you'll know that we have the main image matrix. And you can see that we came up with a few different options for main image, which is like the product plus the parts, or I'll call them inclusions. We have a lifestyle image. We have some with the product plus packaging in parts. And then it's pretty much all just like product inclusions. The only real different one is like the lifestyle that we have in the top left-hand side. So with the main images, we basically ran all of these through market research to figure out which one was the best. And what we found is that the product plus the inclusions and the lifestyle image got the most votes. It doesn't necessarily mean this is what's going to perform the best in Amazon, but it's certainly where we're going to start. And then we would keep doing manager experiments tests every month. So this is the winning image. Now, I want to spend a lot more time, because this is more related to conversion, is on the secondary images and A+ content. So this is tests that we did through Product Pinion. And I know some of these are a little bit small to see. I think I show the larger images on the next slide. But what we wanted to do is, if you remember from the image concepting sheet, we had this big list of what are the most important things that people need to know before they buy this product. And one of the key areas that people were curious about with these binoculars is, what age range were these binoculars appropriate for the kids? Like, what age range of kids are these binoculars appropriate for? And so you can see here that we created multiple different versions talking about these binoculars being best for kids. And what we found was the winning image is showing that this is good for kids 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 6 to 12, and then to have a kid that matched each of those age ranges. And I think I do show bigger pictures on the next slide. So if it's a little hard to see, don't be discouraged. This is another one, which is all about, what are we doing with these? I guess these are just some competitive tests. We're just testing our different images. This is like an inclusions image. This is sizing. I know what this is for. The reason we were doing these is because we were trying to test the order of the images that we should put in the gallery. So these were like pretty similar concepts. We're trying to think like which one is going to be most impactful in helping people to make their buying decisions. So you're going to see in the end, we have a whole bunch of images we created, more than would ever fit into the listing. And so we're trying to get an idea for like which ones are going to be the most impactful. And so like this was the winner here. We would use this image in testing among these, like this product inclusions, what was included with the product is going to go earlier on in the gallery. And yeah. Okay, so I want to show some of the progression of the images that we had. Now we're going to get a little more detailed. So, like I was saying earlier, we have this big list of elements or concepts that people want to know before they buy the product. And one of the big ones that we had was around magnification. Like, what was the zoom level? What was the quality of the image of using these binoculars? And so this is the V1 of the image for magnification. And you can see it's got like this 16x zoom. It has like the zoomed in of the bird. And I don't know if I showed on, I guess we don't show it on the next slide, but what I did is I tested this V1 against everyone else who also had a magnification graphic. And what we found was that uh, it didn't really do a good job of like showing people wanted to see like what the bird looked like through the binoculars. And so we basically reworked it to show what the bird would look like through the binoculars while keeping all of the text the same, kind of like a more in use. And the V2 performed significantly better. This was a graphic that we created. The point was they wanted to see like that the lens quality was good. Other competitors had similar image types for these. If we have time at the end, I'll show you the product opinion and I can show you comparing to the competitors. But this one won in the end. We wanted to show that like the color density of the lenses was really good, that we had a high quality lens compared to other binoculars, which is a little bit blurry and a little dull. This was kind of like an applications graphic, and we wanted to show that it was good for if you're camping or also at the beach, and that this is good for your kids. Like when you're out taking vacations or out taking trips, it's going to keep your kid engaged. It's going to make them into nature lovers and explorers. And so this is all AI, by the way. None of these kids are real. This is all just generated images. And, not just a raw AI image, but we, obviously had to go into Photoshop and Illustrator and to clean up different things. I think generally looking pretty good. This was a really big one that we had around durability. And so people wanted to know, okay, my kid is not going to be very careful with these binoculars. They want to know if they drop them or they would get submerged in water, if they would still work. And so we had this image of this girl looking kind of shocked that she's dropping. You can see the binoculars kind of falling, as well as showing that it's water resistant. So if they get wet, if it's raining outside, it's still going to work just fine. This was an inclusions graphic that we created showing everything that's included inside of the product. People wanted to know that it came with like a carrying case. And then some of these were just bonus items that we added, like a bird identification guide. And we noticed that some of the other competitors included things like a lens cloth, a compass, and a magnifying glass. So we added that in as well. This was a little bit more of a abstract graphic. The product is supposed to be like an educational or a STEM product that is like going to encourage your kid to get more involved with like science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And so we went through a few different iterations on this image here, but we ultimately ended up on this one where it's what we were trying to show here is that like the kid is going to be out, they're going to see a bird, and then it's going to cause them to like be more creative. And so now we have the girl on the right hand side and she's like coloring in this bird after she's gone and seen it on the hike. Now, again, this is a fantastic application, I think, of AI. Anyone who tells you that AI is going to give you an image that you can put onto Amazon they're just lying to you. It's not at that level yet. But the fact that our designers were able to go and like create this girl to create the bird that matches the bird on the drawing, like this looks like a really solid image. And so again, if you join the masterclass, we have a whole template set that we use for Mid-Journey that allows you to go through and basically rate like 100 different photos and get closer and closer to what you want your style of images to look like. So instead of getting things that look like art or they're more abstract, it gets really into a similar style, gets you a lot more assets that are usable from Mid-Journey. So that's one of the things we're going to cover inside of the workshop and will be a part of the homework is to go and fill that out so you have your style ready for in person. Now, this is a really good version. A big thing that people wanted to know if you do the image categorization for this niche, everyone had a sizing graphic. Now, a lot of sizing graphics were pretty boring. They were just like the product on a white background showing the sizing dimensions. Most people's brain aren't going to think in terms of like how big is 7.8 inches by 3.1 inches. They're going to want to see something for size and for scale. And so we're not only showing the text that says perfect size for small hands. We're showing them in the hands, but then we're also showing the binoculars folded up inside of a pocket. So if you remember from the section on image scoring, this was what we called speed of comprehension. How quickly can someone look at this image and understand what's the purpose? What's the intent of this? And does that line up with what the shopper is ultimately looking for? And I think this does a really good and clear job of that. This is a larger image. Again, people wanted to know, is this appropriate for the age of my kid? We pulled this keyword data straight from Data Dive. What we could see is that the biggest groups people were searching for were binoculars for kids age 2 to 4, binoculars for kids 4 to 8, 8 to 12. And so what we did in this image is show that it's suitable for all of these age ranges and then put an AI kid model that is between the ages of 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12. And so the point of this is like an applications graphic. Someone is specifically shopping for their own child or for the gift of someone else. And they're like, oh, my kid's 8 to 12. This image is telling me that it's perfect. Let me go and add it to my cart. This is something that's going to help with conversion. Versus if all of your images are showing the 2 to 4-year-old and you're shopping for like a 4 to 8 or an 8 to 12-year-old, you might think, I don't know if this product is really a good fit. Let me go to another listing and see if someone else has something that's more suited for my child. Another really big thing about this product, and we could actually see this in the AI product brief, was safety. Like, was this product specifically safe for kids? And so we made this graphic to show that there were soft oculars around the eyepieces so that the kid's eye wasn't going to get damaged, that the eyepieces had rounded edges, that it was easy for kids to adjust the focus, and then a comfortable neck strap. What we should really have on here is the breakaway neck strap. Again, we just spent a limited amount of time on this, but the other competitors, the breakaway neck strap is so if the kid is running through the woods and it gets caught on a tree, it's not going to like choke them. The strap will break away and then the binoculars will just fall down so it doesn't lead to injury. We also had some this is a big area of conversion optimization is you might be able to navigate the listing and click on all the different color variations. But what happens if someone gets to the listing and they don't hit that step? Showing all of the different color variations that you have is important. So that way, let's say that people are only seeing the green and the blue. They're shopping, let's just say, no political discussion here, but let's just say they're shopping for a girl and they're like, oh, the green and the blue isn't for my girl. They might bounce from the listing and not convert. If I show that we have like some other alternate colors that anyone from any gender might like, then they could go and see that in an image. So a variation image is helpful to have in secondary or in the A+ content. This is another concept that we played around with. It didn't test very well, but the niche was heavily dominated by Chinese sellers. And so we wanted to show something that the product is not manufactured in the US. There's no way to manufacture these binoculars probably anywhere except for China. Well, what we wanted to show is that it was an American company and it was designed in Austin, Texas. And we're trying to bring in some like American themed colors into the jackets of the kids. Now, when we tested this, people really didn't care that we were an American-owned company designed in Austin, Texas. I think they just want the best price. But this could be more important. Let's say you're selling at a much higher price point because you just can't match the profitability that some of these other people selling binoculars for like, $7, $8, whereas all of the US sellers in this niche were like $19 plus for this product. So probably a little more development needed on that. We had this one here. This is more of an abstract. It's kind of like the girl handing off the binoculars to her brother. It's showing that your kids are going to get engaged, get away from screens. It comes with this bird guide. And so those were the secondary images that we created. Now, when we're going through the workflow for CVR, you'll notice that there's a section for secondary images, and then there's a section for A+ content. So kind of what I was showing earlier is we have more image concepts than can fit in our image gallery. And so what you're going to want to do is try to look at your market research, try to look at the AI product brief and think, what's most important for me to put in my secondary images? What should be the order of those secondary images based on data? And then like, what couldn't go in my A+ content? And so you probably wouldn't like duplicate the exact same concepts that you have in your secondary images, I would try to keep those more about just about the product. And then your A plus content is like bigger picture, more abstract concepts, and maybe getting into like your brand as a whole. And so this was, I believe, the V1 for the A plus content. This is what was completed in that 9-hour first V1. So the V1 wasn't anything special. You can see there's like big blocks of text. We're really focusing on like color variations. We have this second module here, which shows the variations, but not as the binoculars. This is like showing the different applications that you can use these in bird watching, sporting events, or camping, and comparing our lens to competitors and some of the early V1 concepts of images. Now, what I really want to emphasize with this is I always said when I had the agency, I would tell our clients this, that the magic happens in revisions. You should never expect your team to put a V1 out that is like done and you're finished. I would expect on everything, some of these images, we made it up to V3. I would expect on every set of images, if you're being serious about conversion optimization, you might go through a V3, V4, and maybe even more. I think there is a point where you just got to say, okay, this is good enough, and you move on to other products in your portfolio. But don't ever take V1 from your designers and be like, well, this designer or this agency, they just don't know what they're doing. I got to go and like give them feedback. Like that's not how you work with creatives. Very few creatives are going to get it right on the first try. So that was the V1. This is now getting into the V2, which you can see gets a little bit more elaborate here. So this left-hand side is showing the entire thing, and then this is kind of like a zoom in on the modules. So you can see compared to the V1 where it was very text heavy, we get a much more attractive banner here. We're bringing in some, this is probably a little bit risky to have the 5 stars on here because it's like looking a little bit too much like a review. But to put something in quotes is generally going to be okay. We're talking about some of the safety features. We're combining the color variations and showing the colors and the styles here. We could probably minimize this a little more by not showing the color palettes. This is actually a scrollable gallery. This is the advantage, I think, of the A+ premium modules, is that you're not just locked into like static images. You can actually scroll through these and see all of the different applications. So again, where this is helpful for conversion is someone's buying this binoculars because they're going on a camping trip. And then they see this icon here that's showing the kid on a camping trip. And they're like, oh, this product was made for me. Let me go and add it to my cart. We have the competitor comparison here. We have a slimmed down version of the inclusions. And this also is an A+ premium module where you hover over the section and it tells you it comes with the magnifying glass, it comes with the lens cleaning wipe, it comes with a compass, it comes with the carrying case. So again, another good use of the premium A+. We didn't actually make a video for this, but this is like potentially what a video inside your A+ could look like. And this is a really good thumbnail, not just taking the default thumbnail, but a custom thumbnail that kind of blends the entire A+. We have the sizing graphic here, and then we have like this satisfaction guarantee. This might also be a good place to talk about like the other products that your brand sells, or the fact that we're an American company. We've been around for X number of years. We make all sorts of different toy products. And again, this logo here, Adventure Lens, I literally just went into ChatGPT and I said, hey, give me 10 different options for a brand name for a set of kids binoculars. And Adventure Lens was the one I liked the most. Like the logo is not anything fancy, but it's very simple. It clicks. Let the journey begin. I have no idea. Like I didn't give any feedback for this. Matthias just put it all together. So once we have all of the image assets, a lot of people struggle with like, how do I determine what should go into, like what should the order of my images be? What should go in my secondary? What should go in my A+ content? And so this is actually a market research test that we did on IntelliV, and this is called a DRAB analysis. So the DRAB stands for dominant reasons to avoid buying. And basically what you do is you're putting a link to your listing and you say, what are all of the reasons that you wouldn't buy this product? Which is sometimes a little bit of a strange way to look at things, but you get some really helpful feedback here where you can see that the most important things people are concerned about with these kids' binoculars is like durability and quality. Is it safe and is it suitable for children? How easy is it for kids to use? And this is a list of 10 different things. The things at the bottom, you can see interest and usage concerns, like they're worried about whether their kids would actually use the binoculars enough to justify the purchase. This is getting an important score of a 2 versus the durability and quality concerns has an important score of a 10. And so what this is helpful for is not only in the concepting of the images, but to say, well, if I have two images, one is saying, hey, your kid's actually going to use this. And one saying, this thing is super strong. It doesn't matter if they drop it or it gets wet, it's still going to work. What is going to be more important to have early on in your image gallery in image position 2 or 3, right? It's going to be the durability and quality concerns. So you can use this to help guide the order of your images in the gallery. Just some more feedback here. Like people are talking about how safe and if these are good for kids. Like we're doing things that are building up the reputation, talking about 5+ years on the market, that it's made in the USA. You can see too the main keywords that we saw inside a data dive. We're putting inside of the images to help with like how the Amazon's AI for image analysis is picking these up, like binoculars for kids. Yeah, I'm going to kind of gloss over this, but you could basically what this is showing is that for each of the elements from the drab score, we're making images that relate to this. So like safety and suitability for children, like we're pulling these straight from what the people are looking for. Like appearance and design, we're showing all of the different colors. Like interest and usage concerns, we're showing that, hey, your kid can use this for hiking, for sporting events, for camping. Then we actually have a V3, and I'll wrap up here because I know this video is getting a little bit long. But we actually did make it into a V3 of the A+ content, and you can see that it's getting even more minimalist. We're playing around with some different concepts here, and I feel like looking really good for 40 hours. So I think that's where I'll wrap up for now, kind of show you a little bit of what's possible. That's pretty much it.
Thank you so much, and thank you also for giving us a sneak peek into the workshop that Brandon will host in Prague at the European Site Conference, and you will be there as well, helping to host the workshop. So make sure to click on the link below in the video description to learn more about the conference we're having. But for today's video, it was super interesting to see what is possible to do within around like 40 hours of work. And as you said, it doesn't have to be perfect within this time frame, but to see how much could be actually done and what kind of process sellers could have just with 1 week of designers' work. It's amazing. I think you can it's already probably better than a lot of competitors on the market were having in their product listings.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the next step is we use Smart Scout to find all of the sellers of the product. So we've reached out to the US sellers first. And then we haven't gotten a response yet. So we're going to give it like another week. And if we don't hear from anyone, then we're going to approach the Chinese sellers and we're just going to give all of these assets away. They've already tested better than all of the competitors. So I think whoever ends up using these in the end is going to see a pretty significant uplift.
Okay, I'm looking forward to hear an update about that later. But thanks again, super useful interview, I think, to help educate Amazon sellers about the topic of conversion and what they could actually do with their product listings. On our YouTube channel, there are different workflow videos already, just to kind of summarize what other workflows has DataDive put together, which are available for our Amazon sellers out there.
Yeah, so we have a workflow on product validation. If you're looking to see before launching a product, if it's a good idea, how risky it is. And then we have optimized workflows for optimized SEO, optimized CTR, optimized CVR, and optimized revenue or PPC.
All right, sounds good. So I'm very much looking forward to see you and Brandon both in Prague at the upcoming European conference. Thanks again for joining me today, and I hope to see you soon also on our Orange Klik YouTube channel.
Thanks so much. We'll see you in the next one.
I hope this video will help you to create high-converting product images and A+ content for your Amazon listings. And if you are interested in what the DataDive does, you will find the link below in the video description, as well as a special 20% discount when you signing up. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe buttons as well. And if you have additional questions, leave them in the comments section below. And now I recommend you to watch another video where you will learn how to use Data Dive to optimize your main product images. So check this out.